Trump likes votes and he likes donors. Or he met us in Nashville. We gave him $25 million. I gave him 12.8 Bitcoin through the Bitcoin community. People called me an idiot. Oh, why would you give $1 million or $10 million to Trump? And I'm like, well, I sat in a room with Trump, with Loomis, with the Winklevoss brothers, Howard Lutnick, his son, several senators, congressmen, every miner in the world, in America. There was, 25, 30 people. And Trump sits down and says, hey, you guys got my attention. What would you like from me?
Gary, nice to meet you. I'm Vince, by the way.
Vince, good to meet you, buddy. Very good to meet you.
So I'm trying to reach younger people, younger generations. I think Bitcoin will help them a lot, especially in today's economy.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed.
So you've been doing some rounds with Bitcoin podcasts, which is awesome. But I wanted you to walk through, your early career through Natural Gas Clearinghouse and how it evolved into Dynegy.
Well, it was, I have an economics and a marketing background. I was in college and had no clue what I was going to do. This is 1981. And went to Houston, talked to a guy into hiring me. I got an unbelievable job working for a United Gas pipeline. And it was an empty pipeline it was an empty piece of pipe running from Laredo, Texas to Houston. I had no understanding of pipelines or nat gas or anything. And it would begin, I was fortunate enough to join an industry that was undergoing regulatory intervention by the government. So Reagan was in office and he was like, hey, the utilities, the energy players have made way too much money for way too long. They built all these pipes, they built rigs, they built infrastructure, and it's been paid for 30 or 40 times over. So a bunch of guys like me showed up. We were 24 years old. And we showed up and we're like, hey, we have the solution to mankind. What we need to do is open the market up and let the market work, let market forces work, and let natural gas trade like a commodity. And by the way, if there's a pipeline, this is a pipeline. If there's a pipeline and it has 3 units of space on it, you can't allow DuPont and Exxon to keep holding all that space that's not being used. It's called open access. So if there is extra capacity in the pipe, you need to make it available to anyone that wants to use it, including Gary Cardone. It doesn't have to be ExxonMobil. So that would begin a domino effect of creating what I consider to be the most efficient market in the world: natural gas, oil, and electricity. And they were the entire construct of energy and the way energy is priced was changed between 1985 and 1995. Forever would be changed. 10 years, North America, Canada, some Mexico, and the entire European continent now trades on that exact same model. There are no refunds. There are no failures of transaction events. There is no force majeure. Force majeure is a term when you buy $500 million worth of gas from ExxonMobil every day, and a hurricane runs through the Gulf of Mexico, and they go, hey, sorry, can't deliver today. Well, that's the very moment I needed energy, was when a hurricane was. So these markets work perfectly. What is significant about this is if 200 men in 10 years could change the entire landscape by which energy is transferred, transacted, and priced. Energy, remember, more important than Bitcoin. There is no Bitcoin without energy. So it's the first principle product, right? And he who has the most energy, this is a maxim, he who has the most energy, no matter what the price is, and he has close proximity to it, he wins the game. It's just energy, right? It's just he who has the most energy wins. So America now has the most abundant supply of natural gas and crude oil in the world, and it's the most economical on the planet. And that was all done when the monopolies, ExxonMobil, Shell, all the pipelines, they're all clubs. They're all hanging out at the same golf clubs, pricing everything, pricing pretty much the same. They all said that the market would fall apart if you did not have 30-year contracts. And these 30-year contracts, by the way, were when I started buying natural gas in 1983, the price of natural gas was $7.50. Today it's $3. $3, okay? Prices just come down forever and will always go down. It'll go near zero. That background, I would move, I would work there for 3 years, get very frustrated with the bureaucracy. I would then move to Natural Gas Clearinghouse when I was 27, and that would be the last time I'd ever work for another company. It was awesome. It was like working for, and this is my message. I know you have a fairly young audience. My message to everyone is find the right platform for yourself, man. Like everybody talks, a lot of people follow my brother, and the message there is go build your own business. I don't think that's really his message, but that's the way it comes across. I became incredibly wealthy, retired at the age of 41 years old, working for one company for 17 years, and became an expert, one of the foremost experts in the world on how energy trades, moves, transacts, transported. And that was like I was 25 years old, and the energy sector was 50 plus years old. So when people tell me that you can't go into an industry that's been around for a long time and find your space, every industry undergoes cycles, just like human beings, just like nature, just like animals. And if you're in the right place at the right time and you have the right skills, you're willing to listen, able to learn, it's remarkable opportunities on the planet. I mean, I've done this 4 times now in industries that I was told that outsiders can't just walk into an industry and become an expert. And I think that's proven, at least by my lifetime, that's proven to be untrue.
Yeah, I mean that's actually why we're in Florida. My wife has worked in oil and gas for 12 years now, and she worked for Antero Resources in Colorado, and we got moved to Houston then eventually, and now she works over here for FPL Nextera in Florida, and now I mean that's where it's taken us. So that's why I was kind of fascinated about your journey, because we've been living it for about 12 years in that industry, and it's fascinating to me.
Yeah. I find it to be a very boring industry now. Well, because you haven't heard about a dry hole in 20 years. There are no dry holes. I mean, these companies are making very, very good margins for what they're doing. They're becoming more efficient. I mean, Chevron just laid off 25,000 people this morning. That's coming, and oh yeah, bro, it's coming. They're going to I think the energy sector will benefit greatly from AI. You think about all the people on these drilling rigs. It's dangerous, man. So there's going to be massive benefits, I think, to the big oil, and they'll embrace AI. It's right up their alley. But I think the more important part, a lot of people have asked me, hey, how did you get into Bitcoin so fast and so heavy? And that's the one thing that a lot of people go, bro, you hit this thing so hard when you came in. See, I didn't really, I heard about Bitcoin in 2016, and I looked at it. I love looking at new things because I get bored quite easily. I think that's a superpower, by the way. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think after a while, I understand a game. I'm like, I don't want to do this for the next 15 years of my life. It really, I mean, like I could never do real estate. I would shoot myself in both my legs. It's just boring. It doesn't mean that's not a good business, but I'm not going to run a car wash either. It's just not intellectually exciting for me. My point being on the energy sector, when Bitcoin came around, I saw the Roger Veers of the world, and they were arguing over block size and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, Mickey Mouse, man, so bad. So I walked away from it. 18, I bought some, not a lot, but I bought it. And I bought a lot of gold and silver at the same time I bought some Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was at $8,000. to me, these are not the important questions. When did you first come into Bitcoin? The important question is, when did you lean into Bitcoin where you're like, oh my God, dude, and that was 20. I had a really serious problem going on in my life. And rather than retreating, I looked at Bitcoin and went, whoa, how can I use this as a tool? How can I use this everything I've ever done in my life, I feel like I've been really, really, really fortunate. But the money has all been made when I had to make a pivot. There was this real moment. I might be pointing in the right direction, but I was not going to hit the target head on and do a perfect kill. I was going to do a maiming. And all I needed to do was I was in a deal and I couldn't figure out how to solve the problem. And I looked at Bitcoin and went, man, this motherfucker solves every problem I have. And if it doesn't, it's the greatest Hail Mary I've ever fucking thrown in my life. And that's what really moved me in. And it was the conviction that followed, because I was like, whoa, we did this with natural gas, dude. I did it on 3 continents with this accent. I mean, I literally spent hours and hours with academia and regulators and convinced them to change the entire way they price shit. And it worked. And it worked incredibly. I mean, the nuclear power industry, 9 months after I left the United Kingdom, and I told a regulator, I was working on some electricity deregulation, a regulatory framework to make the UK power markets work better. It was 35 pounds a megawatt when I got there. We drove the price to 16. The nuclear power industry, 9 months after, I remember walking out of an office with a regulator. The lady's name was Dr. Eileen Marshall, and her Cambridge and Oxford academia were there. I was dressed in a T-shirt, jeans, and some boots. And I get up on one of these chalkboards, start drawing a picture of a river. And I said, look what happens, man. This river, it's got a beautiful willow tree, and it's going to fall. And the willow tree falls on the river. What happens to the water? And they were like, well, the water's going to disperse. I said, well, that's what we're going to do to the electricity market. Midnight every night, dude, the tree comes down, and if you have not contracted for your electricity, it's going to spill in the overflow market. I'll be there to bid on it, and you're going to get whatever you get. The price will be the price. Well, like within days, man, it's negative. Okay, because basically what the utilities were doing, they were all just waiting to flow into the system and just get average price. So it was a very complicated managed system. But when I came to Bitcoin, I'm like, my God, we did this with natural gas and electricity. We most certainly can do it with fucking money that's made up out of thin air. And that's where we're at. That's what, for me, I've been looking for I'm a whale hunter, man. I've been looking, my brother, I drive my brother crazy because he's like, bro, you take risk. But I love these deals. These are events. I'm looking for, I'm literally a whale hunter. I'm looking for that really big problem that it's so big, people just look at it and go, it's impossible to solve. It's like herpes. Everybody's got it. There's no solution to it. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, how did your relationship with your brother kind of, dictate or drive your guys' business and investing?
Well, we don't do business together. We never have. I was his, I think, first investor in his real estate many years ago. I think I've got 3 or 4 units. I'll roll those into the IPO that he's going to do with the Bitcoin stuff. But we don't do business together at all. We're very different people. I mean, extremely different. So I don't, I've not gone out of my way to, when Grant became interested in Bitcoin and asked me questions, I told him. But my job isn't to educate my family about, hey, you have to buy Bitcoin, change all your real estate stuff. But he most certainly has swallowed the orange pill. And I think once he looks at it, he'll realize that he too came into Bitcoin, although a bit later, and I don't really think it's late, but it's later than me. And that would make total sense to me. It would be consistent with our entire lifetime, not right or wrong. But he now understands that in order for him to expand his business in the 21st century, you're not going to do it using 20th century tools and technology. And that probably, and now, I mean, I made a comment to him. I said, Grant, if you just do one deal, the marketing value alone will be unbelievable. And he kind of scoffed at it. And, you know, he's a marketer, right? He's a premier marketer. And today, I think he's been really shocked at the marketing value. Shocked. See, people don't understand, like, you know, there's a whole audience out there. There's 250 million people at least in Bitcoin. The thing about Bitcoin, though, these particular people are highly active, interested people. They're not the 90-year-old lady watching CNN. These people are young, they're active, they're interested, they're global. This is another thing. There's never been a product like this. This is truly global. Doesn't care what Poland does, doesn't care what Trump does, doesn't care what China does. This is fuck you money, man. It's just such a beautiful thing because for the independent person, right, this is came at the right time for sure.
Well, I mean, it's kind of fascinating because recently we've had gold, silver, and Bitcoin all hit all-time highs. And I think that kind of speaks to the global economy as a whole. I mean, Bitcoin is the true, you know, global asset that anyone can invest in. Like you said, it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white, you know, whatever you believe in, it's for everyone. And I think that's pretty fascinating. And it's kind of cool that, you know, all three of those have actually hit all-time highs. Obviously, I'm way more invested in Bitcoin. I think that is the future of money for myself and my generation. But what do you think about with the global economy and these assets all hitting all-time highs?
Well, gold has hit a 1,000-year high, 3,600. Silver is $9 away from a century high. That'd be $51. Bitcoin's 23% off its high, give or take, you know. Bitcoin has been performing very poorly relative to gold. Bitcoin's gold ratio, I was doing this with a guy last night on some of these finance shows we do, and I didn't realize this, but gold's ratio currently is 33-1. He believes that the normal ratio over the last 10 years has been 55-1. So that means that Bitcoin currently, relative to gold, is priced at a 40% discount for that parity to come back in place. Now, I don't think gold's done moving. So that means that let's take gold's at 3,600. Let's say gold goes to $5,000. 55 times 5,000 is about $270,000 Bitcoin. Somewhere between $180,000 and $270,000 Bitcoin. But the problem is you got it, like, gold's not going to just sit here. Gold's either going to keep going up or it's going to fail. I don't think it fails here. It doesn't fail because silver hasn't hit a high. Gold touched it and backed off. You have central banks greatly concerned about a lot of things. Bitcoin's just sitting there like dying. It's $2.2 trillion in size. Silver is bigger than Bitcoin today in market size.
I think that will change.
It'll all change, right? I mean, Bitcoin is sooner or later going, look, it's eating through, I like to look at market cap because it's eating through all these other asset classes. And there's just competition now. NVIDIA will go up and then it'll come back down. This is just the way money flows. So this is one of the things I've tried to explain to my TradFi buddies. Like, hey, dude, real estate's $330 trillion. For it to go up 10%, assuming you're not at max consumption, I think real estate's fucked, okay? Like, it's real estate is a whole package, and you can't You can't say commercial real estate's going to get destroyed and then residential real estate's going to do well. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. We're so early in a period of time when these are true 1,000-year events. Gold has never seen these prices in 1,000 years. Silver has never seen these prices. By the way, oil is at $60. It's not a problem. Natural gas is at $3. Like the world is saying, oh shit, man, I need real value that does not change overnight. And that's why silver and gold are doing what they're doing. And Bitcoin will be a follow through for this. The funny thing is, we spent the last 3 years getting all this shit organized. You guys are looking at it going, hey, why is it taking so long? What? Are you kidding me? Like, think about, I spent 25 years in the energy sector, and we fucked it up, dude. We changed it forever, okay? Like these prices are significant. When I'm telling you, hey, $7 for natural gas, and I can buy it for $2.80 today, that's competition. That's creating a proper market. Okay, OPEC has 3 versions of itself now. These clubs have completely been broken up. And they're going to be broken up just by market forces, the global nature of our business today. We're not going to be globalized. We're going to be poly markets. You got, Trump looking at India going, hey, and Europe, hey, you can't buy Russian oil. Well, watch them. No embargo has ever stopped a barrel of oil. I don't care who it's from, dude. Iran, Iraq, the worst of the worst places that you want to call them worst. A barrel of oil on a ship is a barrel of oil. It doesn't have an embargo stamp on it. It doesn't have an OFAC, hey, this is a bad Bitcoin. There's none of that shit, dude. Like, it never stops moving. What it does is it gets priced differently. Hey, the crude oil market's $70. How about if I give you this barrel for $30? Dude, you're going to take a $40 margin. Come on. And you're going to relabel it BP green, put it in a drum, and you're good to go. So none of that's working. We've seen every politician on the planet try to kill Bitcoin. They've tried to do the same thing. Prohibition doesn't work. Embargoes don't work. Sanctions don't work. People find ways to monetize their assets. Period. If we go into a total lockdown, then we have too much of everything. That's insane. You can't lock everybody up and then expect your economy to do well. So this is a once in a century event. We started, hey, how did you get started? My career, and I will go back and tell everyone this, do not try to get in a big rush and do what I have done in 10 years. You can't. Okay? I mean, you're just going to fail so frequently. I spent 17 years with one company, man. I could have left 8 times chasing a greener grass, a greener pasture. I was learning so much. I was given so much authority. My team supported me. Was I paid the absolute best? Nope, I wasn't. But I wasn't looking wow, I could make another $250,000 a year if I moved to Goldman. Right? I could have done that, but people jump around too much, man. They get impatient. So the platform, your education, a buddy of mine named Mike Mack asked me one day, he said, dude, do you have like a notepad with just notes? And he said, you have so much data in your brain. And it's like, well, when you do this for a profession, like a baseball player, he knows what the pitcher's going to throw. He knows what the first baseman's capability is. He knows what that other guy, you become an expert. If you don't look at your career like you look at being a professional athlete, guess what? You're going to be working your entire life. And I'm sitting there going, hey, I'm playing, man. I'm having fun. See the difference though? Because I'm like, hey, because I only do so many things anyway. I'm a very, very concentrated human being. That's the other thing. Do not listen to anybody that tells you that you need to be diversified, skilled in many things. You need to be skilled in one freaking thing. Just be the best at one thing and you're good to go.
No, I completely agree. I think it's pretty fascinating, though, that politically, Bitcoin is becoming a bigger talking point, which I think is absolutely amazing. The fact that Trump is talking about it, went to the Bitcoin conference. He's talking about the United States investing in it. Because even like you said, China banning it, other countries, they can't do much about it. Doesn't matter what Trump says, but the fact that there is a political realm to this now, I think it's pretty amazing that right now we have a pro Bitcoin president.
Yeah, well, Trump likes votes and he likes donors. In November of 2023 or 2024, he met us in Nashville. We gave him $25 million. I gave him 12.8 Bitcoin through the Bitcoin community. People called me an idiot. Bro, why would you give $1 million or $10 million to Trump? And I'm like, well, I sat in a room with Trump, with Loomis, with the Winklevoss brothers, Howard Lutnick, his son, several senators, congressmen, every miner in the world, in America. And there was, 25, 30 people. And Trump sits down and says, hey, you guys got my attention. What would you like from me? If you vote for me, I will give you the following things. And he literally has not failed to give us what we asked him to give us. I mean, to the one, dude. So he fired Gensler. He said he would do that. People now in the Bitcoin community go, wow, he's getting rich. I'd be okay with every politician that works for the United States government to get rich in the open. Let's do it in the open this time, okay? If they increase the GDP or the margins of the company, give them a fucking fraction of the deal. But you can't trade stocks. Okay, just get I like him investing in crypto. I think it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Because if you think he's a greedy pig, then you just get behind his trade. If you think he's a smart guy, get behind his trade. I don't think he knew much about Bitcoin in November of last year, but I think he knows enough. He knows probably less than I know about Bitcoin, and I think I know absolutely everything that's necessary about Bitcoin for me to make the decisions I'm making. I do not need to be an AI expert. I do not need to be a blockchain expert. I need to look through all the noise and compare similarities and differences. And I'm very well prepared for this because I've seen events like this. I mean, I can smell it. It has the smell of a perfect transformational event. I mean, there isn't a smell in this crime scene that does not belong here, dude. Everything's here. This is most certainly happening. You could have the top 15 guys in the crypto industry wiped out on an airplane. This thing's still going. It is an impossible force to stop at this point. Impossible. And we are still so fucking early. It's crazy. We're at least 30 or 40% still early. And by that, I mean, anything you buy in the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to be like, wow, really? Did I do that? Could be a very bumpy and exciting ride because the world is a mess, okay? Like people need to understand, if the world shits, Bitcoin's going to get hurt, okay? But it's going to get hurt probably more aggressively, instantly, and for the shortest period of time than anything else. But like Bitcoin's not going to, Bitcoin, we have I spend most of my time asking myself one question. How could I be wrong? Because my allocation of this trade is severe. It is absolutely, it's a life-altering trade investment. I call these things the same, but my trades are never short trades at all. It's, for me, a trade, I could do a trade for 8 years. But that means, oh, wow, I'm stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking for 8 years. Like a machine, right? It's a sailor approach, a very and we're doing this, dude. I'm going up the mountain. Once you build a thesis, so why would you back off? See, once you find something that's incredible. I mean, Josh Mann and I were talking the other night. He's like, dude, the guy doesn't need 600,000 Bitcoin. I'm like, bro, I will be disappointed if he doesn't get to 800,000. He can, he should. If I could, I would. Okay. I'm stacking as much of this shit as I possibly can. I have more debt leverage than he does. Okay. And like, people need to understand, you know, the right trade, when you do a trade like this, the way I do it anyway, these trades, going all in means you go all in. It's when I see an event like this, now I have the stomach for this. Okay. A lot of people do not have the stomach. I'm not asking you to do that. But for me, you know, it's a cool way to end your career. You know, spank it. I've made more money in the last 4 years than I made in the prior 15, man. And had more fun doing it. And traveled less. Spent less time with assholes than I wanted to. Went to less conventions. And the other thing is, and a lot of people like will not do the homework that I've done, but then look at the people coming into the industry. Like, you don't have to look at all these analytics. You can look at, wow, he's an interesting guy. His brother came in 4 years later and he's going to buy 10,000. He's an interesting guy. Wow, that guy's an interesting. What's his career? 5 years ago, I started looking around going, God dang, dude. These people are leaving $20 million a year jobs. This guy ran a $200 million hedge fund. Dan Tapiro just walked away from Wall Street and said, fuck it, dude. He's going to have one of the biggest funds on planet Earth. And these are cool people. I know all these people, dude. Like, I have met all of these people in person, shaken their hands, hung out with them, had a drink, we've done whatever, talk, cracked jokes. I have had 2 challenges getting to 2 people in this industry. That is extremely unusual. I was doing 500 million cubic feet a day from Exxon. Every month I would pick up the phone. Hey, Bob, I need half a B. I'd buy half a B. 3 years, these people would not even have lunch with me. I was the scum of the earth, man. A little parasite. 500 million cubic feet a day, dude. That's a shitload of energy, okay? And they were like, nah, we don't need to talk to you. We don't want to be seen with you. See, that's a very legacy, closed market approach. I pick up the phone to the CEO of NIDIG. You guys don't know who that is. I didn't know who it was. Hey, Gary Cardone here. I'm going to be in New York. Would love to meet with you, sir. Sure, Gary, come on in. Every time. Unbelievable. When you can meet people, look in their eyeballs and go, why the hell is this cat here? We think there's $1 trillion. Okay. The market went down. I've been in this thing now 5 or 6 years. I'm in Wall Street when the price is $17,000. FTX is imploded. Everything's going bad. And me and the Wall Street guys, I'm listening. I'm a very good listener, although I talk a lot on these things. I'm a very good listener. And all I kept seeing was everybody was like, dude, this price should have gone to zero. Should have gone to zero. Should have gone to zero. These motherfuckers never sell. I was hearing this all the time. Whoa, dude, these people don't sell, dude. We've never seen anything like this. Their biggest worry, we know we can buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. We don't know if we can get out. That's the biggest worry for institutional players. I know I can get in. Getting into a fucking whorehouse is easy. Getting in jail is easy, okay? Getting out with your shit is hard. And we had 80,000 Bitcoin sold 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In about 10 minutes, and the price went down 3%. This is the most important thing that's happened in Bitcoin in the last 4 years. Now, why do I say that? Someone went out of their way to smash sell 80,000 Bitcoin, $8 billion worth of Bitcoin, and the price slipped 300 basis points. That's 3%. That is fucking nothing. A week and a half later, 24,000 slam into the market, and it does less damage. Now, you can say, wow, there was 24,000 Bitcoin buyers and there was 80,000 the day before that. Most certainly, that's exactly my point. This is the example of 5-6 years ago, people going, oh, I know I can get in, but can I get out? Okay, now they know they can get out. 3% slippage, no problem.
I don't think
So
a lot of
these are signs of
people.
an extremely healthy market, and
Yeah,
very healthy.
I don't think I agree with you completely. That was fascinating to watch. Only a 3% dip. And I know I see you on X all the time, but I mean, just following little people, little plebs like me, we're buying the dip every time. And, you say Wall Street is worried about getting out of Bitcoin. Bitcoiners don't want to get out. We don't want to sell our Bitcoin because what are we selling for? Fiat dollars? Why would we do that? Why would I want to sell my Bitcoin for $1? That doesn't make sense in our mind. I mean, I would rather own Bitcoin until I die. Sure, will I spend it on coffee and things that I can spend it on once that becomes available? Absolutely. I think that's very important. I think that's very healthy for the Bitcoin ecosystem. But I don't want to sell my Bitcoin. My Bitcoin is for my children, it's for my grandchildren. It's the best performing asset. It's the hardest money that we've seen. And fiat dollars are dying. And we know that. We see that. So if Wall Street wants to worry about getting out of Bitcoin, that's fine with me. Let them get out because I will buy as much of that Bitcoin as I physically can because that is my life raft. Because that will save me from inflation, from the dollar getting debased constantly, as we very much saw in 2020 with COVID when they printed that astronomical amount of money. That was a huge wake up call of holy shit, why do I own this thing that they can print and send to whoever they want? I don't want that.
Yeah,
I don't want to sell.
yeah. Well, you may not want to, but uh, Wall Street wants to know that it can get in and get out, that it doesn't get trapped, and that's in new markets. Like I usually am in new markets, and you can get trapped. I have been trapped. Um, you think it's more liquidity than it really is, and let's remember the Wall Street guys get paid for making returns. So they need to be able to churn these returns. They have tax facilities that make it more efficient for them than you to do that type of short-term trading. They're experts at it. Look, Bitcoin's like mercury, and I don't know if you guys do this in school anymore, but if you smash some mercury on a table, it's going to seek out every little gap. And the difference is Bitcoin tends to be attracted to the largest gaps. It's a little bit like AI, I think. A lot of people, I think AI, they thought AI was going to replace the most junior person, the Indian call center. I'm afraid that that's just not the way it works. It attacks the biggest margin gap, okay? Like it's going to replace doctors. And I most certainly can prove it because I don't know anybody that wants to have surgery with a human being anymore. I do not. I'll take the robot with all its flaws. I mean, seriously, right? Like it's when you think about it that way, you're like, whoa, I would rather have a robot today as a doctor than a human. Yeah, humans make a lot of problems, like make a lot of mistakes. So the institutions most certainly will come and go. The You just said something that just really always gets me a little excited, which is if don't say please that you're going to hold on to the Bitcoin for a lifetime, but that you'll use it to buy retail because I don't get that, and I'm sure I'll upset Jack and Jeff Booth, but I ain't selling my Bitcoin for potato chips. I'm not doing it, or candy bar, unless the retailer gives me a massive discount relative to my other options. Cash, okay, cash and Bitcoin should trade at the same price, in my opinion, because there's no refunds, there's no rebates, there's no chargebacks. But if you guys are going to use Bitcoin, I don't care where you are, buying barbecue chips, and the retailer doesn't give you a 20% discount, that's you do not understand what you have, okay? Fucking use the fiat, man. He's going to convert it into a credit card anyway. So Visa's still getting his piece. The rails are still getting their piece. You're not doing shit to grease the skids of commerce. The skids of commerce get greased once the distribution of Wall Street flows to 8 billion people. You can't get distribution without the centralized systems. We will be here forever trying to do peer-to-peer, trading, baskets of wheat with Nigerians. I'm sorry. Okay, for the Nigerians, you just don't have a big enough market for that to work. Right? You're not going to get global adoption that way. You don't get global prices. You don't get prints. You don't get 24/7 markets that are really, 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 really liquid. 80,000 Bitcoins sold in minutes, man. 3% slippage. That's so healthy. It's unbelievable. So healthy.
Yeah. Well, to counter that, I guess what I'm talking about is I think it's very important for people to use their Bitcoin. I think it's healthy for other
It hasn't been so far. It's been a colossally expensive marketing campaign. How much were the pizzas?
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm going to drop all my Bitcoin for a house. I'm saying if I do spend it, and because a retail shop is willing to accept my Bitcoin and I can orange pill them to some point, I will replenish my Bitcoin.
All I'm saying, you guys aren't appreciating what the retail, you're doing him a favor. He has no chargeback risk. A $100 ticket, when he gets a chargeback, cost him $438. And you're sitting there going, hey, I'm going to give you my Bitcoin for the same price. I'll give you my Bitcoin at a 20% discount, man. Because it's money instantly for him. You know how long it takes him to get the settlement on the credit card? Up to 180 days, dude. On Visa, MasterCard's asked for 280 days to reverse the transaction. The retailer doesn't even know. You're doing him a favor by giving him Bitcoin. And if he doesn't understand it, he hasn't been orange pilled properly. And the way to orange pill him is, hey, man, candy's $1. I'll give you 80 cents in Bitcoin for it. Nah, I can't do that. Well, here's $1. You just got 97 cents after you pay Visa. And by the way, you're not sure that you're going to even keep the dollar, because I could just be a dick and file a chargeback. This happens 650 million times a year, my friend.
Well, Bitcoin is early.
The rails are not settlement, okay? But it doesn't mean that you should give it away. It does not mean that you should give it away. I never give Bitcoin to anyone, because if I give it to you, you're not going to respect it. Why 3 million coins been lost? Price was wrong, dude. They didn't price it correctly. If they would have priced it correctly, they would have respected it more. When you think it's only worth $300, you treat it like a whore. And they fucking lost it. No one is losing $118,000 Bitcoin, bro. Not today. Now, actually, I just saw a guy almost lose 50 million, but that's a whole different story. But so it's just a bit of a, I don't know anyone, and I know a lot of people in Bitcoin. I have a house here that is worth $120 million in Bitcoin terms. I have a beautiful home, okay? Like, it's one of the best homes in the area. It is not worth $120 million. Not even close. Okay, it's probably worth 15. Now, I used $8 million worth of fiat to buy it. That $8 million worth of fiat could have bought $8,000 Bitcoin. 4 years, this house cost me $120 million. That's the way I look at it. It's the right way to look at it. By the way, I now have to look at it and go, wow, I've made a fucking fairly colossal mistake. Now, I'm a wealthy guy, so me not doing that, it's not the end of the world. I don't get stuck on it. However, I do have to do this. Bro, if I stay here for another 4 years, it's going to cost me another $130 million. Is this house worth $250? Is this house worth another $100 million? See, and that really shows you the value of the fiat, what you're talking about, the fake money, the made-up Kool-Aid money.
Yeah, I mean, if I have posted this before, the first house I bought was $365,000 in Denver, Colorado. That was in 2018. Price of Bitcoin was around $5,000 at the time, I believe, maybe a little higher. Yes, I would be in a lot different space right now if I had put $365,000 into Bitcoin. And that
Where would
is,
you be? Where would you be?
oh, I mean,
See, the thing is, you borrowed probably 80% of it, right?
yes.
See, so now let's think about that. That house is worth 350 grand when you bought it, but you only had to put down 20 cents on the dollar. What would Bitcoin be worth if you could only put down 20 cents on the dollar? What would real estate be worth if you had to pay 100% cash? It wouldn't have traded at 350. You couldn't afford it, right? So you'd have bought $60,000 worth of Bitcoin for your 20%, $60,000 worth of Bitcoin at, how much was it? $600?
No, it was about $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000. So you'd have bought 100 Bitcoin.
I mean, I'd be doing a lot better
100.
off than I am now.
Oh my God, bro. Are you kidding?
And, but we're so early.
That's a $10 million house for you.
Yes. But we're so
on
early.
a $60,000 investment.
And that still applies to today. That is going to happen again with Bitcoin. And that's why I don't spend, once you get orange pilled, you don't want to spend your dollars on anything else because you see what you're spending it on. If I drop $100 on something stupid going out to dinner, that $100 in 10 years from now in Bitcoin terms, what is that going to be worth? And that is what a lot of Bitcoiners realize, and they ditch dollars and they live on a Bitcoin standard, and they don't hold dollars. As soon as they get paid, they put everything into Bitcoin, and they live off a credit card, and then they will pay off that credit card when they have to, because it's not worth holding the dollars. The amount that you'll miss out on by doing that, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, so let's just go through this little exercise that you went through, because it's not right or wrong, right? But you would have used $60,000 in cash roughly to buy a $350,000 house. That house is probably worth $350 today, maybe $400.
I sold it for $500.
Okay, cool. So you made $1.5 million. No, you made $560.
At $550, we made $200,000 on it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. If you would have taken that 60 grand, bought $5,000 Bitcoin, you'd have bought 12 Bitcoin, you'd be at 1.3 million today. You would have paid back the 60 grand. The 60 grand would have cost you you didn't cost you anything because you used cash. So you'd be up 1.24 million right now compared to 200 grand. I mean, it's a 7x, man. It's 6x. At your age, these are monster numbers. Monster, because that 1.3 then doubles in 4 years at least. That's 2.8. How old are you?
34.
34. 38 years old, you got $2.5 million on one trade. Now, I think not enough people think about this. This is an 8-year play. If you invest with my brother, it's a 10-year hold, minimum 10. If you go into a private equity deal like I get invited to, 10. And they're going to charge 2 and 20. 2 and 20. 2% a year forever. 10 years, that's 20% they take. And then 20% on the ups. So Bitcoin has a 4-year little shelf life. All you have to do is go, wow, I'm 32. At 36, my money's going to at least double. I think it's going to quadruple, actually. Could do an 8er if you like, just get it lucky. 8 years, it will do the same thing. So I'm like, wow, you're 32. Like I have this lady that works for me. She's 35. I'm like, how would you like to be worth $8 million when you're 41? 41-year-old single woman worth $20 million, dude, $8 million. She can say fuck off to all of you guys and do what she really wants to do. This is life-changing. No one should be taking this lightly. Okay, like 35-year-old woman can say fuck you to every one of you punks because she stacked and waited. Whoa, bro, when you're a woman and you're 48 years old and you don't have to like ask your husband for, the allowance or looking for 48 years old and you're still looking for that rich guy. Like, this is not the life to live. To be able to discipline oneself, suffer a little bit for 4 to 8 years, to double and triple and quadruple. Look, I've been doing this my whole life, okay? I've made more money in the last 6 years than I have in ever before, relative to the amount of energy I've used to get there. And everyone tells me they want to own their own business. You should start looking at Bitcoin, because this is a business that everyone can own. Most people should never own their own business. They're not equipped for it. There are only so many CEOs on this planet, dude. COO is not a CEO. An accountant's never going to be a CEO, okay? It's not like their skills. I'm never going to be an accountant either. I'm horrible. But when these plays come along, you think, wow, like I will have altered, if I care about this at all, and I don't really care about the whole Cardone legacy and all that stuff, but if I have altered forever my last name, dude, through Bitcoin. I maybe have done it through some other industries, but this is staggering. Okay, this is next level. And to your point, we are most certainly still early, because I'm the crazy guy. Okay, guys like me, like, we are still early. I promise you, man. People are not. I don't think people understand. There aren't a lot of edge cutters. Like we're 4 or 5% of the world, and then, and the guys before me were insane, and most of them haven't kept any of this money. That's the other thing people should learn, especially young guys. If you meet an OG in Bitcoin, ask him all the mistakes he made. Don't ask him all the shit he did right, dude. Ask him every mistake he made. If you can stay away from the mistakes, you're gold.
I can tell you.
I know them all, dude. And they've all tried to invest in this other shit, and not one of them has worked the way Bitcoin's worked.
Yeah, I can tell you one of the best investments we ever made was when they rolled out the COVID stimulus checks, and my wife and I dumped every single one of those into Bitcoin.
Wow.
Every single
Awesome.
one of them. And we have obviously never sold that. And everyone else was out buying their new game consoles and told us we were idiots. I'm the weird Bitcoin friend in my group. I'm the one that that buys Bitcoin, constantly talks about Bitcoin. So, yes, I completely agree. And it's fascinating to watch, and I'm very excited to see where it goes, because in the next 10 years, it's only going to get more escalated. Things are going to heat up, and the amount of compounding with Bitcoin is going to be fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, a lot of people are going to look at this and go, wow, this is really late. It's moved a lot. It's gone from, crazy numbers to crazier numbers. $330 trillion is stacked in residential real estate. Bitcoin's $2.2 trillion in size. Now, I don't think real estate can go up 10%. That's 30 trill. Okay. I think Bitcoin can most certainly go up 20%. That's only 400 billion.
It can do that in a day.
Dude, it will do it in a day. NVIDIA did it in $280 million. It did it in 4 hours, and 1,000 analysts missed the entire move. Not one predicted that move. If you can fuck up a move of $280 million in a 6-hour trading session with every analyst in the world watching NVIDIA, you most certainly will have a $250 million day, billion dollar day in Bitcoin. Fuck, most certainly. It's only 10 or 15 grand, dude. It's not that big of a move.
Gary, I really appreciate you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but because I am in Florida and you are in Florida, and this is actually might become something here, I wanted to ask you, they're actually talking about abolishing property taxes here in Florida.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll happen?
I think they should. I think it's heinous. I think that it's basically, hey, we're going to tell you what we think your house is worth. We think and we're going to tag you. It's like me not selling my Bitcoin and getting a bill. Like, why am I paying property tax? I haven't sold my house yet. If I sell my house and I make a profit, I get to pay the government. Dude, I think if DeSantis actually could push that through, it would be a major thing. And like, he looks like he wants to really make some changes. The mandate on not having vaccines taken by anyone on any vaccine whatsoever in Florida being abolished is awesome. I wore a mask just to pump Florida up a little bit. I wore a mask no more than 30 minutes during the entire crisis. We had bars open, restaurants open, churches were open. Were there some assholes? Yep, there were a lot of assholes walking around. Half of them are already dead. But all these people were assholes before this shit started. Okay, they're the perfect ones, the Puritans, the high priest, and this is, I think people have forgotten what COVID was, but COVID should have shown you really how valuable Bitcoin may be one day. Like, if you didn't get the fucking message, man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, there's some people in Canada that got stopped just for having crypto. I mean, if you look at what's going on in Europe, I mean, those people are going, they're going insane. There's going to be civil war in Europe.
I agree.
Oh, by the way, let me just, 4 years ago when you were buying Bitcoin, you did not have these indicators from gold and silver. You had them, they were starting to show up, but now they're like, wah, wah, crude oil down, natural gas down, interest rates all over the place, right? And you got gold, silver, and Bitcoin all going, warning, warning, warning. So I don't know how many warning lights, messages, alerts that one needs to do. And then you look at the amount of intellectual capital that's in this space. This never is a bad trade. If you see intellectual capital, some of the smartest people on the planet going into an industry, like, that is your indicator, man. My God. Okay, they're giving up their careers to do this. These are, find me some stupid people that are running Bitcoin entities or deep. There might be some gangsters, but there are no stupid people, dude. I mean, they know more about economics than most all other businesses combined. It's really fascinating.
Yeah. Amazing. Gary, I really appreciate you doing this. It was fascinating to meet
buddy.
you. I hope I get to meet you in person one day if we ever do a meetup with the Bitcoin Army. That'd be amazing.
Well, I'm down in. I told you guys I would offer my home for an event if you guys ever do an event down here. Can't do it the whole weekend, but for a Saturday or Sunday, a party or something, happy to do it. Yeah, when you're in town, let me know, buddy.
Yeah, I will
All right,
definitely make the drive over there.
Vince, thank you very much, buddy. You guys stay strong.
All right.
Keep stacking.
Thank you.